for a second. He hasn't done anything sports-related in a very long time. He's only sideline affiliated with the Kardashians at this point. And I've heard rumors that there may be a book deal coming soon. So I wonder how much of this was a grab for attention, because I've also heard rumors that while he may look a lot like a woman, depending on how he dresses, he still has all of his male parts. So if you were really committed to becoming a woman, seems like there's some work to still be done there.
Quite a bit of work. You know what? When we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to change gears a little bit more. We're going to find out a little bit more about Rick and what makes Rick tick out there in the middle of America. We'll be right back, folks.
I'm George. How do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. Call InventHelp today.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-352-1609. That's 1-800-352-1609.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. The law requires car accident victims to assert claims promptly. You could lose out by simply waiting. Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
And welcome back to the Liberty Cafe. I'm your host, Rod Eccles. We are sitting here with Rick Robinson, who resides out there in the wonderful flyover country, as our wonderful politicians call it, in Middle America. Now, one good thing about Middle America is that if you want to see a part of the country, or the country as it used to be, that Middle America, the states of Kansas, Oklahoma, northern Michigan, Minnesota, the Dakotas, they're still pretty much, I guess, stuck back in the 50s, if you will, or the closest thing to it, which is not a bad thing. It's a very good thing, actually. Especially when you start comparing it to the East Coast and the left coast, otherwise known as the West Coast. I'd like to welcome you back, Rick, and let's talk a little bit about what you have going on in your neck of the woods. Let me throw out a question to you that is a lot of people often ask a lot of talk show hosts. You ever think about running for office?
No, honestly, it's as much as I enjoy hosting my own show and doing the other things that I do where I actually step in front of a microphone and draw attention to myself, I'm really not that much of, I'm sorry, there's no nice way to put this, but not that much of an attention whore. So politics is not going to be something that I would ever really, truly be interested
Oh, well, that is... That would be too bad. Looks like, did we lose you? Oh, I think maybe we kind of lost Rick there for a second. Well, we will wait for him to, we'll wait for us to reconnect with Rick Robinson, and we'll get some more information out of him and see which direction he'll be taking his life shortly in the near future. I know there's some. He's got some pretty exciting stuff to share with us, so we will definitely get into that once we reconnect. If we can actually do that, we will try that. And I would like to say we're glad that you are with us and tuning in again. This is a live broadcast, even though we are pre-recording it. And
Hello.
Hopefully we have Rick back.
I can hear you now.
Great. That's the way, live broadcasting works. You get all these quirks, especially when it's on the inaugural program. I know I was asking you about running for office and that you didn't feel that was your calling as of this point. We'll put it in those nice terms. Although a lot of people have probably disagreed with you on that and think that, you probably have some wonderful and great ideas. How do you think that you're going to be able to best get some of your, for lack of a better word, political ideas to come to fruition?
Well, basically, we're already doing it here. We've started, actually, I'm the founding partner of the Spark Radio Network. I am also the programming director for K98 Talk, which is a web-based radio station. We have, over the last several months, started assembling lots of like-minded folks. We've added a lot of new shows, including yours, that airs with us every Monday through Friday from 10 Central to noon. And so, one of the ways that we're getting words out is by getting as many people put together in a central place that can put their ideas in a central place so that people can find them. We've also started becoming more active in some of the political groupings, like the Southern Republican Leadership Conference. Two of the hosts that we just added, which are JD and Stacy from shows like Game On and Bloody Marys and Broadsheets, actually were at CPAC for another network before they joined mine. And they actually, Stacy will be at a convention coming up in a few weeks, and then we hope to have a group of our folks over at an upcoming convention in Atlanta as well. So, one of the ways that we're getting involved is actually just to get involved, to get out there, to start being able to get questions asked and answered, to put ideas on paper. Most of the folks that are with me at the stations, they write for blogs through folks like Rebooting Liberty and a few other places. So, that's one of the things that my main goal is to bring as many people together in a central place to get our ideas out so that we bring attention to those ideas, because up until now, internet broadcasting has basically been a bunch of different people on a bunch of different platforms all saying pretty much the same thing. So if we can get a central place where as many of them that want to can come together, then there's a better chance that all of our voices can be heard, which has been my goal all along, and it's actually finally starting to come together. So that's basically been how I've decided to get involved, through social media, of course, and now internet broadcasting. And at some point, I may or may not start doing more writing again. I really haven't had much time to do it lately. But, other than that, I don't see myself being the guy that would step in front of a microphone and say, vote for me. I can't do it. This is not who I am. Honestly, when I don't do this, I'm one of the quietest, most shy people you will ever meet. I don't know what changes when I get in front of a microphone when it's on the radio, but I don't even really do public speaking all that well. I don't know why this doesn't bother me as much, but it doesn't, and I'm not sure why.
Well, that's probably a discussion for that wonderful psychologist that I mentioned. Now, you mentioned a couple of radio stations that you're involved in now, and K98 I know is one of them, and my program, the Rod Eccles Show, is affiliated with your network over there. And by the way, folks, great lineup that they're gathering over there, and you should and we'll find out how to actually contact Rick and get in touch with his station and things like that a little bit later. But what actually motivated you into going in this direction? Because like you said, the internet radio right now is pretty fractured. However, it's starting to come together. I mean, where do you see K98 and your other digital ventures heading?
Well, I mean, one of the things that I'm hoping for is I think a lot of us are getting involved in internet radio at about the time when it may soon stop being called internet radio. Think back to cable TV in the late 70s, early 80s. Everybody called it cable TV. It was the new thing. There were providers everywhere. There was all these new channels. So it was, hey, do you have cable yet? Now today it's just TV. I think internet radio is headed in that same general direction, because now we're getting to the point where people can take it with them on their phones. Most providers have some sort of an app, whether it's the Spreaker platform, which is our home, or TuneIn, which is also one of our homes, or even my show, which is on iHeart and Stitcher. You can basically take your internet content with you pretty much anywhere any longer, and I think, or anymore. And I think because of that, we're on the verge of seeing internet radio soon to become what everyone had hoped satellite radio was going to be, which was a revolution for the radio industry. I say that with having some connections in the terrestrial world and having some folks that I know personally that work for a company, and suddenly their old name escapes me, but they have now renamed themselves to iHeartMedia. So that should tell you exactly how strong the internet presence is becoming on the radio. Oh, it was Clear Channel. When a company that used to be known as Clear Channel suddenly decides to do a complete rebrand and name themselves after a platform that they themselves started, that should tell you how prominent internet is becoming.
And a number of, well, for folks who don't know, Rush Limbaugh was distributed through Clear Channel for years, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, iHeartRadio has over the past 2 to 3 years has become very huge. Now, do you see other digital platforms like iHeart doing the same thing? I know there's some other new ones out there. Oh, they may not be new. Again, I am not one of those geeks that keeps track of all this techno stuff, and every time something new comes out and I think it's new, it's actually been around for like 12 or 18 months. So I'm behind the curve on a lot of this stuff. But are there other players that are coming along? Do you see your ventures getting connected with any of the other big players?
We're already connected with TuneIn, which is a pretty big equivalent to iHeart. The entire station actually runs through there. We are actually in talks now to try to see about getting the entire station placed on iHeart. Don't know how that's going to go, but right now my solo show, America Off the Rails, is on there, and you can find it there just by searching. As far as any other ventures, I really don't know if there's anything that would compare to those two, at least not that I've heard about before. I mean, I'm sure there are, but I don't really know of any off the top of my head. I mean, one of the biggest platforms that I know of for internet radio is actually the one that you host this particular show on, which is Live 365. Up until recently, I've heard nothing but good things about that particular platform, but it's just been one that I've never really been that interested in pursuing, simply because I'm not a professional, and it does take a lot of technical know-how to make that particular platform work, at least from what I understand. But it's been a home to places like WAR, which Wayne Dupree is a pretty well-known guy in internet radio circles, actually won Blogger of the Year at this year's past CPAC convention. So, I mean, it can't be a bad place to land. It's just not really anything I've ever really considered pursuing, other than a couple of questions that I asked them at one point when I was first considering where I was going to go after Blog Talk Radio. Because I don't know about anybody else, but that's usually where a lot of folks that I talk to get started, is Blog Talk Radio, because it's easy. It's easy to run. It's easy to use. But they want a lot of money for their service because they do make it easy to use. So at some point you have to weigh economics above the point of wanting to be able to do more than one show, which is why we did eventually land on Spreaker. And honestly, shortly after we landed on Spreaker, they made the announcement that they were going to start partnering with iHeart, which is why we've never left, because that is a really good connection to have.
Yes, that is. Now, the beautiful transition.